the main thing, Sam shits the proverbial bed during a radio show date. And while visiting the hometowns of her 4 remaining suitors, Jenn goes to the Pee-wee's Playhouse of grocery stores, joins a running club, and plays lacrosse for the 2nd time this season. Enough lacrosse already. It's week 6 and Hometowns week 7 on season 21 of The Bachelorette, and you are watching Reader Seeks Romance Channel's Romance Recap. We're dissecting and discussing Jenn Tran's rose petal journey to finding ferocious love. It's shot o'clock, so let's get this party started. I am Liz Donatelli.
And I'm Tiffany Current.
Be sure to subscribe to Reader Seeks Romance Channel so that you don't miss weekly episodes of Romance Recap only on YouTube. All right, hello, Tiffany.
Oh my goodness. Let's just get to the end. I've lost interest. I don't know if she's going to find love. I don't know if any of these people actually want love. Let's be honest. Enough already.
I agree. Enough already. There are spoilers aplenty out there in Bachelor Nation. There is a pairing at the end.
Okay.
There supposedly is a pairing at the end based on all of these spoilers that are running around town, just like Jenn in Hometowns.
Just like Jenn. Can I stop seeing her run? I don't want to see her run. I don't want to see her take a helicopter ride. I'm tired of like close-up shots of dogs. Let's be more creative. Let's be more creative.
Yeah, I mean, at one point during Hometowns, the camera just focuses on like a deer head hanging on the wall, and it was like a bit too long. I said, wow, they're really running out of stuff here. Before diving into Hometowns week 7, I'd like to briefly discuss week 6.
Yes.
So in my opinion, 2 momentous things happened. One, Jenn decided to pick Jeremy over Grant for Hometowns.
Yes.
And number 2, the downfall of Sam. Picking Jeremy over Grant, was that a mistake?
I mean, it's fake. Let's be real. Grant was the better picked, but the producers wanted Grant to be the Bachelor because immediately after that episode aired, Grant was named as the next Bachelor.
Wait,
so that's why. Have you not been keeping up with the news? Yes, he is the next Bachelor. That's why. That is why.
Oh,
that's the only reason why.
I saw.
Now I have to check my notes to make sure that's the case. But specifically, that's the case because when I saw it happen, I'm like, there's no reason in the world Jeremy, who never had a one-on-one date, would get picked over Grant, who she thought was hot.
Yeah.
Who they had good conversations with, who she said she was kind of falling for.
Right.
There's no reason in the world. That's why.
Wow. Okay. Well, I have been so focused on Bachelorette that somehow Bachelor news escaped me. Now, wow.
I'm double checking. Yes. So, it's saying that he is the new Bachelor. There you go.
Do you think that at some point the producers grabbed Jenn and like, hey, we know you like Grant, but Grant is too good not to be the Bachelor, so don't pick him?
I for sure think they pulled her aside and said like, okay, who do you actually see going in the bottom 2? And she named who it was, and he probably wasn't one of those options. And so they're like, we're gonna suggest you let him go and pick somebody else. And because we have other ideas for him. So I'm assuming they probably had that conversation to check to see where she was at because they wanted Grant for the Bachelor.
Right.
That's my thought.
So essentially when they cast these suitors for Bachelorette, they're keeping in mind, hey, who are potential bachelors?
Absolutely. And that's why Jenn was picked for the Bachelorette. They reuse people because the audience is familiar with them and they could have somebody that they know going into the next season. But that is why Jeremy got picked. Let's move on to Sam.
Be my true authentic self.
I feel like Sam finally got what he deserved. I don't even know how it happened. It was like an unraveling at a radio show of just basic questions and hearing him respond back in like one of those, I don't know, scripted things. He only had like scripted things to say back. It was super strange.
Yeah. He just kept saying wrong thing after wrong thing. At one point, he says to her, they had asked, what was your impression of Jenn? How is it changed?
Yes.
how has it changed? He goes off on all sorts of things, talking about when he first got out of the limo and saw her. He was like, "Oh, she's not my type. I thought it was going to be these
I
other
know.
two women
Yes.
from this season of Bachelor."
How was your first impression of me, and how has that changed over time?
It's a testament to this process. I told you, I almost didn't even come here. And I thought, no, like, there's an opportunity to find my wife here, and that's exactly what I'm going to do.
She asked what it is about her, and he's talking about himself.
And then I got out of the limo. I'm like, okay, this girl is not my type.
What?
I thought the Bachelorette was going to be Daisy or Maria.
Stop talking!
Then he's just starts saying about her passion and her fire. They play a word association game, and in this group date, which is a radio show. I don't know if it was actually broadcasting anywhere or what, but they say to Sam, word association, fantasy suite. And he says aggressive.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a quick rapid fire word association. Sam, fantasy suite.
Aggressive.
What'd you say? Aggressive? What the hell?
Is that what he said?
Yep.
Aggressive.
Oh my gosh.
Aggressive? What are you going to do to her in the fantasy suite, you know?
Everyone, even like the radio hosts were like, what? Like, what? So what's happening there? It was very strange.
Yeah,
Very strange.
Jenn was so confused throughout. She was rolling her eyes throughout this whole segment. Jenn is trying to say, like, you profess your love and passion for me, but what do you like about me? And he says, you're selfless. And she says, why am I selfless? Like,
how do you know? Yeah.
He can't answer it. He doesn't know. And then he says something to the effect of, well, if you're not selfless, then you're just full of shit.
Yeah.
What is it about me that makes you feel like we could have a really great future together, besides the fact that we both want this ferocious love?
Truly your selflessness. Because I consider myself a very selfless person as well.
How do you know that I'm selfless?
I mean, you're either selfless or you're full of one or the other.
It was just like, oh, you'll know how I feel about you when we meet my family and friends. It's like, what?
I am so confused. He's telling me, oh, you'll see the love when I see my friends and family. Like, you'll see the way, I know you love your friends and family, but that doesn't mean that he loves me. Right now, I need to know that he sees me and he understands me and he listens to me.
Like, so long story short, all these terrible answers happen. She's kind of frustrated. She pulls him aside. They have another talk. She tries to get information out of him. And I kept thinking to myself, girl, why are you trying? Like, why do you keep trying so desperately for this man who clearly doesn't have any interest in you? It was like, but she tried so hard. I felt bad for her.
I'm confused. I don't understand. But maybe there was something that I'm still missing. My connection with Sam has been so strong. It's like, we can get through one more challenge together. It just seems like maybe we could get through anything.
She tried so hard, and I was wondering, was it really because the physical chemistry on her end was so strong? She thought, well, if this works, the emotional has got to, or is this producer intervention?
No, I think she actually liked him that much. I think she felt a very strong physical connection. She said it from the very beginning, throughout, over and over again. And I think she just was desperate to believe that there had to be something more than that attraction. Yeah. And there was not.
He mentioned how things changed when they had the strip show episode, and about, he wasn't making any sense.
That was ages ago.
And then he's like, about pouring myself, like we poured into each other, or you poured into me. He was talking, that was the second time he mentioned about pouring into each other.
I don't know.
And it
was
like,
the
I don't even know what
shot
the hell he's talking about.
Yeah.
But really, where everything switched for me was after the whole stripping thing. You're like pouring into my emotional part.
Oh, what the hell does that even mean?
It's all about shot o'clock.
Shot o'clock! Let's get it!
He said lots of shots, and it is time for him to go, and he went, thank goodness. But that left us just a couple guys. It was Devin, Jeremy, Jonathan, and Marcus for the hometowns. And I think the very first one was Devin and Jenn.
The first one was Devin and Jenn, and that's in Houston. So each hometown, there's a date, and then there's the meeting of the family and or friends.
Yes.
So this date was with his running club, which was like
Yes.
what, 50 people
It was
that I
very
guess.
strange. Not all of them are the running club. Let's be honest. I was watching it and I was like,
Oh,
these girls have to be extras. Some of these people were extras. That's my personal opinion.
oh, I didn't think. Now, I'm
Absolutely.
going to jump ahead. We get to
Yeah.
go to all these families' houses. Are those houses really the houses of the families that we see in Houston, Tacoma, Fairfield?
I don't know. I'm assuming
Okay.
it's a mix. I'm assuming maybe sometimes it is, and sometimes you just got a rental property because it's better to set up lighting and etc.
Yeah,
That's my guess.
that's what I was
Yeah.
wondering because everyone had these beautiful houses.
Yeah.
Not to say that their families couldn't afford them, but they all looked picture perfect. So I was wondering. So if there's possibly some house rentals going on,
Yeah.
that there actually might be extras in the running club, is what you're telling me.
Absolutely. Those are all, at least half of them had to be extras. That's my opinion. Devin, if you're listening, let us know otherwise. It felt like extras. What I loved about this running club, the
Yeah.
good guy run club, whatever it was, is that right when they show up, Jen's like, I call him Pete Davidson. Does anybody else think of his? I was like, again with it? She's obsessed. She's obsessed with it. It's
She
ridiculous.
is. And they were like, yeah. Like they weren't really, I think they were just trying to go with it. I felt like the whole date was uncomfortable for me to watch because of the sweat pouring down. Like at the end, they're
He
sweating
had
and people,
so much sweat. Like
I started
his
to gag. Yeah.
shirt, his blue shirt was so damp. And I
Oh,
was like, oh.
and he was hugging her, and all I could think about was like, oh my God,
Yeah,
it's so
that's
sweaty.
gross.
I mean, she looked like she was kind of, a little sweaty and a little out of
Yeah.
breath at times.
Yeah.
Again, they're so into each other. Everyone says what a great couple they are in this running club.
Yeah.
Again, Jen has chemistry with every single one of these bachelors.
Agreed.
So that's what, like, she's almost too good of a bachelorette because
It's true.
she meshes well with everyone. It's like, well, I don't know. Is that
What's
good?
real, what's not? I
Yeah.
mean, look, I think she actually really does like Devin a lot because he's one of the few people that has completely confessed his feelings to her.
Yes.
We get to meet his dog, and then later on, we meet his family, and it's interesting because he says that he hasn't introduced someone to his family in 10 years. So that was kind of interesting. That's a long time frame.
And I believe that Jen passes a remark at some point that she has never brought home anyone to meet her family.
I don't know what's going on with Jen. This is
I
a
don't know.
beautiful woman, great personality, great job. It's very interesting. Her dad did a number on her. That's all I can guess. That's
Yeah,
all that I see.
for sure. What was interesting is Devin keeps mentioning about his untraditional family. And
Yes.
so his dad is there. His parents are divorced. So
Yes.
it's his dad, his stepdad, his mother, his grandparents, his brother. And
Yes.
everyone seemed to get along. So
Yeah.
when he kept saying untraditional, I was like, well, I didn't think there was anything particularly untraditional about the family. There's a lot of blended families and divorced families. But this was weird. I feel like this was a producer thing. All of a sudden, he has trouble expressing himself because he's like, I'm afraid, to really say I love her because even if,
He's been saying it all the time. Yeah, it was
right.
BS.
She's with other guys. So I want to be the only person when she says that. I want to be the only person. Like, even so, anyway, it was a whole thing. I was like, I don't understand. This guy's not shy.
But I think that I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about telling her I love her because I don't want her to turn around and tell that to somebody else. That's something that scares me. When I say I love you, I want to know that I'm the only one.
What?
He's not shy. He's been expressing his feelings the entire time. It was BS. He had a conversation with his dad where he said that information. And then finally, the mom talks with Jen to find out what makes him special. And I think Jen gave a pretty good answer. And it was just interesting then later to see the mom and Devin chat.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to make sure he was sure. And then she wanted to say that they were, I think it was very open and honest to admit that she was a bad example of what love should look like. So that was interesting to me to hear from her and from the father. So it made me think, where is this relationship going to go? I don't know.
Yeah. Very supportive family. And I again, the mom asked good questions. Jen had
Yeah.
good answers. Devin had good answers. And basically the mom is, told him, if you don't say that you love Jen, if you don't tell her, you might not be the one. You might not be,
Yeah.
she might not pick you.
I think you need to tell her that you love her. And especially because there are other guys involved. You're not going to be the one if you don't.
Yeah.
The long and the short of it is he does tell her that he loves her, and she's giddy about it.
I love you. I love you, too.
I'm so happy and Devin loves me.
She said she was falling for him. So I don't know if she's just being careful about who she says she's in love with. Because I
I
don't
don't
think
think
she
you're
actually
allowed to
said.
say it. I don't
Oh.
think you're allowed to say it as the
Okay.
Bachelorette or the Bachelor. So I don't think you're allowed to say I love you, but I think you could
Okay.
say I'm falling, etc.
Yeah.
I will say of note is when he said that they made out hard afterwards. There was like a hard make out.
Even though I feel like they work well together, I just don't feel the same level of sexual chemistry that
Yes.
I feel when she's with Jonathan. And maybe that's because Jonathan
What?
is,
I don't. I totally disagree with you, but go ahead.
you don't
Yes.
think she's got good sexual chemistry with Jonathan?
No, I think it's different. I think it's a friend.
A sexy.
Let's-
Well, I think
let's-
he's very sexy. Maybe that's what I'm
Yes,
getting the
I do.
confusion.
I
Yeah.
agree. Let's save that for him, but I have a different opinion. I feel like the date with Devin went exactly as planned. I was
Yeah.
not surprised. It was a good date. From there, we go to the date with Jeremy, and right away, like I'm debating on fast forwarding it because I know it's a BS date, but I allowed it. The funny moment for me is when they first show up and they're like in the woods, and after they do the fake hug and kiss, she's just like, "Are we going to camp?" And then and then there was that chyron on screen that said, "Not Camp Crystal Lake" or
Yes.
something. I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
That was
They had fun with that. And then
Yeah.
she's like, did you take me here to kill me? Like,
Yes,
did you take me
yes.
here to kill me? Yeah. So I thought, a little kidnap and murder joke was a great way to start off the date with Jeremy in his hometown of Fairfield, Connecticut.
Welcome to Connecticut.
Did you take me here to kill me or what?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
And Jeremy takes Jen to Stu Leonard's, which is a mega grocery store or mega store in New York as well. There's a few
Oh,
Stu Leonard's. I have never
interesting.
been to one. And this store has animatronics, and it looks like they're making fresh tortillas and fresh ice cream.
Yes.
This is like the Pee-wee's Playhouse of
I agree.
grocery stores.
It was ridiculous. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
We roll up and it's a little grocery store.
It's fresh and yummy. Will fill your tummy.
Move those hips.
This store is crazy.
It almost felt like, yeah, Pee-wee's Playhouse or like Chuck E. Cheese. I don't know
Yeah.
why they had cows on the wall, like mooing and
They were-
stuff.
they
It was
were mooing.
interesting.
And then, Jeremy and Jen are having fun as they always do and making jokes. Ha ha ha. The only exciting thing about this was Jeremy's like, "Oh, there's my aunt." And he looked genuinely surprised.
I think that was a genuine surprise. She just happened to accident. That was the first non-produced moment of this entire show. She just
Yeah.
was like, "I'm going shopping, and there's my
That-
there's my
that was
nephew."
Yeah.
It was like it felt unscripted to me. That one felt unscripted. He seemed shocked.
It was a fun date. And here's
It was
again,
cute.
fun is what describes the relationship between Jeremy and Jen. And
Yes.
fun is what is discussed when they get to the family's house in Connecticut. How much did you love Jeremy's mom?
I love the mom. I love the sister.
Yeah.
I loved his family was just cracking me up with like the mom says at one point to the camera, like, I remember Jen describing what she looks for in a man, and that's not Jeremy. And I was like, I have to look this up. I didn't have a chance to, but I'm thinking, what did Jen say? Because the mom was like, this is not him.
When she was named the Bachelorette, she described what she looks for in a guy.
It's important to know what's down under. Kangaroo testicle on my mouth.
What?
Love me some dingleberries.
And I said to myself, that is not Jeremy.
She was just very, straightforward. She's a
Yeah.
realist. And
Yes, she is.
what I thought was interesting is when they first all sat down with Jen, they decide to repeat the whole penis joke he made
I
when
don't
they
know
first
why.
met.
It was
And it was
very
like,
strange.
and the sister was just like, okay.
Yeah, she's like, that was stupid. I love that sister. She was
Yeah.
like really dry, like almost like a Daria in a way.
Yes,
Of
I was
like,
thinking Daria
you're
too.
right.
Yeah.
She was like, no, did not like that. What I liked at some point, the sister and Jen talk, and then right after that, she talks to Jeremy.
Yeah.
And Jeremy's like, did you like Jen? And she's like, yeah. Like the way that she said, yeah, there was so much behind that. Yeah, there was like a whole history behind that. I was like, I like this girl.
Yeah. I think I want to see Jeremy have a reality show with his family. And it's all about him trying to find love and his family's opinions and insights on that.
I really enjoyed his family. I thought they were fantastic. The mom was basically once again saying, I know that you have fun together, but do you actually see your future here? I think she said that to Jeremy and Jen. And I was watching the same thing, like thinking the same thing, like they don't have a future. Let's be real.
Right. I mean, everyone knew it. I mean, it was kind of cringe because it seems like we all knew it except for Jeremy, unless Jeremy's a great actor. Because the mom says, it's not just about having fun. Do you know her enough? And that there were 3 other guys. And Jeremy quickly interjects and says, but she likes me the most.
She's dating 3 other guys at the same time.
I know, but she likes me the most.
Nope.
Yeah.
And I was like,
he said it as a joke. He said
did you really think that was a joke?
Yeah, I think it was a joke.
I don't know.
I think they're like a jokey family. I think it's a joke.
He was very confident. Too confident.
I think this is the most likable that he's been on the entire show is with his family. I liked his family. I want to go to Connecticut and meet them and go to that grocery store.
Yeah, we should go to Stu Leonard's. Yeah.
We should totally go there. That'd be a fun trip to tape. I'll just say the last moment that I wrote down was when they were sitting on the bench because apparently all these houses have benches in the front yard.
We've talked about the benches on Bachelor, Bachelorette. Yes.
He sits and then he claims he's falling for her. And in that moment, I wrote in caps, really, really don't buy it, but that's fine.
He said it as if it was expected of him. He said it in a way that did not seem as genuine as the other suitors. I mean, even Grant, who was kicked off when he said that he was falling for her, I wholeheartedly believed him. Yeah.
He for sure did. I feel like that's Jeremy. There's not that much to say about him because it's just not a real one. It's not real.
There's nothing else. It was filler. I mean, honestly,
it was filler
because they need to have 4 guys. She picked Jeremy.
She picked Jeremy. So, let's move to Jonathan, who I think is your favorite pick.
He is, but geez, with the lacrosse again. They did a lacrosse date again.
Again, we've already seen it.
I mean, is this the only thing they can grasp onto? Is their mutual lacrosse playing in high school?
And that should be a reality check for you because that's all they have going for them is that lacrosse. And quite frankly, he's not over his past trauma. He's not over the past relationship he can't trust.
He isn't.
Even when we get to his house and we meet like his brother and the brother's wife and his family, even they were commenting on the fact that he has this past trauma and they were concerned for him.
I would love to see a reality show or a movie based on the relationship between Jonathan's brother and the sister-in-law, because they mentioned that they met on Tinder and said, I love you to each other on date 3, and they've been together for 7 years, and that if it's the right person, time doesn't matter. The brother is still very concerned. Again, these traumas that Jonathan, or John as they call him, faced. This brother is very stoic the whole time. Like, I want to believe you, but this is just not,
His wife is so light and believes in love and etc. And he's just like, I don't know if I trust you, Jen. I don't care how bubbly you are.
Yeah. And, to Jen's credit, any family member she met that was skeptical, she validated their feelings 1,000%, said like, I don't blame you. Instead of her arguing with them and saying, well, this is my perspective and we're good together and you shouldn't worry. I'm going to be safe with his heart. Like, she didn't give any of that. She was like, you're right. Like, I can't say anything that's to make you feel better on that one. So
I agree. She did that with all of them. I like the conversation between the mom and Jen, where Jen also though mentioned that Jonathan was holding back. And I think she kept saying that to most people because he is holding back. And to the point where when the mom and Jonathan spoke, she said that she was worried because The same kind of conversations with the previous people about holding back. And then it was interesting because it sounds like Jonathan was also holding back to get approval from his family about Jenn. And he wanted to know from his mom specifically, can you see me with her? It was interesting.
Yeah, interesting in that, to me, that's a bit of a red flag because it seemed like his proclamations of love were dependent on what his family thought, which means maybe he's not super confident. But if his family is like, yeah, okay, then I feel better now.
Then it's acceptable. Yeah. Then it's like, okay, well then sure.
Yeah, well then sure. I love you. Although I did think that their moment was really cute with him saying that he's falling for her. And, she said,
I thought that was very cute. I thought it was cute. They kissed. I believe it, but it's the same thing because it took his family validating her, realistically speaking. That is a concern.
Thank you for everything in there. They loved you. This opened my eyes to so much. Am I getting there? 100%. When I said that this would be the thing that would open my eyes, it would be impossible for me to not say that I am. Jennifer Tran, I am falling for you. It's so good that it's true, and I need to allow for myself to feel that and fall for that. And I am.
Jonathan Johnson, I'm also falling for you.
It's like we're in middle school and we can't spit it out.
That is a concern.
It's a concern for me as well.
But you said you saw the sexual energy between them. I don't know. I think it could be more of a friend thing.
Maybe because I'm just focusing on him in the scenes because
I like him.
He's very physical, like he'll, playfully, he's very flirtatious, very physical. I feel like he's an engaged partner. He seems to listen and talk and ask good questions. So I guess I just take that as a good sexual chemistry. I mean, there's always these like sly smiles and all that. I mean, he seems to be a good kisser based on what I've seen.
I like Jonathan. He's probably one of my favorites. I like him. He's light, he's fun. He seems like a good guy, but I don't know. Speaking of good guys, we move on to Marcus in Washington. I know that they don't do a run jump, but she does kind of like lift up her legs to be around him. So I'm kind of like watching it to see what's going to happen. And then he's always so serious. I really like Marcus, but he seems almost a slightly too serious for her because she's more bubbly and fun, and he seems a little bit more serious is my concern. But what I found of note is that we're seeing them chatting, and he's talking about who they're going to meet, and we cut back to his apartment, house, whatever, and we see his friends. And I'm like, his friends seem like a blast. I really liked his friends.
Yes, I did too. And your comment about Marcus being serious, I feel as if as the season has progressed, he's become more serious. I've noticed a shift in him, and I'm wondering if it's because the stakes are higher and
he's nervous.
Yeah, maybe he thought he wasn't going to get a rose.
He's going to be X'd out.
Yeah, he didn't realize he was going to make it this far, perhaps, because I feel as if he's become much more serious and closed off. I just want to mention, because this comes into play, we only meet Marcus's sister. In week 6, he reveals to Jenn that he and his sister were brought up in foster care after his parents, their parents abandoned them in daycare. And that's why this episode is filled with a lot of his friends and a married couple who are like his mentors and friends. They're an older couple, so we meet them. But it looks as if he has a really super fun, supportive group.
I like them.
There was no date, though. Do you think the date wasn't interesting enough and they cut it, or they just didn't do a date?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe they didn't do a date. Maybe I'm assuming it wasn't interesting, but I liked seeing him with his family and his friends. You get a different energy off of him. He seemed more relaxed. I really enjoyed the mentors he was talking to. I really liked Sue as well. I liked all these people in his life. And when Jenn started talking to the sister, Gabby, I thought Gabby is a sweetheart. I really liked the sister. She seemed very sweet, very emotional. And Jenn which I was surprised by, kept getting very emotional talking about Marcus. I thought that kind of came out of the blue.
I did too. I was wondering
Yes.
in that moment, were these hometowns taped in the order that they were shown? Like,
Interesting.
was it just that the emotions from all the previous hometowns caught up to her?
Yeah.
Or was this the first one? Like, I was trying to figure
Mm.
that out because to me, I didn't quite understand her crying because she seems more invested in like Devin. So
Yes.
she seemed like so overwrought
I know. With
because,
emotion.
yeah,
It
right.
was interesting because she kept saying like I could see myself falling in love with him. That she said I am falling in love with him,
Yeah.
but she did say that she was concerned because she is farther ahead in feelings than him.
Yes.
So she was aware of that. So she was nervous about getting hurt.
Do you love him? I can picture myself in love with him for sure. I've been holding back a little bit just because I'm scared. I don't know. But emotions. Scary. I care very strongly for your brother. I'm definitely falling in love with him, and I think that I get scared because I also don't want to get my heart broken. I've been there.
Marcus is a great guy. I
Yeah.
get it, but I didn't think their bond was that close. But I don't know. Maybe I missed something.
Well, I mean, was he the only suitor who got 2 one-on-one dates, I believe,
Ah, that's interesting. That's the
Yeah.
producers trying very hard then
to push that narrative.
to push that
Yeah.
narrative.
She's presenting it as if she
Yes.
is falling for him. He has not
Yes.
said that to her. He even
Yes.
says to his mentor, Scott, that he's not there.
This whole thing is extremely scary to me. I think it's really hard for me to let people in, and with Jenn, I think she can kind of sense I'm struggling to get there fully with her. She's waiting on me to figure out how I feel, and I don't have the answers that I'm looking for right now, so I'm terrified.
He can't say he's falling in love with her. Whether or not he doesn't feel it or he just doesn't want to say it, who knows?
I will say at one point we see Gabby and Marcus chatting, and I thought, what a sweet sister-brother relationship. There was so much love there.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful.
It
He's such a good
was.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Gabby, mentioned about how she's protective and of Marcus and that he struggles with allowing himself to be vulnerable.
Mhm.
And she does encourage Marcus, though, to take the risk on
Yeah.
love and that it's worth it and all of that.
It could be the best thing if you just let that guard down
Yeah.
and let it in. It's all scary. Love is scary, but it's definitely worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah. Love you.
I love you.
And after that heart-to-heart with his sister, Marcus tells Jenn that he is falling for her. And then Jenn says that she's falling for him too. But again,
Yes.
is this a situation with him wanting to maybe please those around him who are like, go ahead, take a chance. Like
I
maybe he's
agree.
doing it more for them than for him. I don't know.
I agree. And that was kind of brought up later on when you see the guys get together for a drink and they're talking
Yes.
about their feelings and their dates. And we even see him saying like, oh, I'm not as far as ahead as these guys. Like he felt some shame about it. He's really struggling. He's really struggling with his feelings there.
And he even said to the table, and nobody commented. He said, I feel like, there's something wrong, that
Yeah.
I should be feeling these feelings. And you know what? Like, if he was dating Jenn for 6 months to a year, I would say, okay, maybe you should go to
Yes.
therapy. But after
Yes.
all, I don't think it's unreasonable for him to be having trouble getting
After 2
there.
weeks. Yeah, whatever it is, 2 weeks
After
a
few
month.
weeks, yeah.
He's just like, I've only actually seen her for a total of 4 hours this entire time. Yeah, it was interesting. I will say we go from there
Mhm.
to the rose ceremony.
Beautiful night for some heartbreak. Ain't that the truth?
And I was not surprised by what happened. Were you?
I was surprised because I thought she was only picking 2.
Oh, 2.
Yeah.
Not
So when
yet. Not yet.
Okay, yeah, I realized that. No, I wasn't surprised that she let go of Jeremy because she doesn't want to have sex with Jeremy. And with fantasy suites, there is the potential for physical intimacy. And I'm like, nobody wants to have sex with their best friend. Well, I mean,
That's
maybe,
true.
but not
Not
him.
him.
That is not Jeremy.
Nope.
And his mother would
that's true.
agree with us.
His
Probably.
mother's like, this isn't right. We did
Yeah.
get a quick like sneak peek into next week where we see the fantasy suites and the
Yes.
guy's opinion. And apparently it was like domino after domino of guys saying like, I'm not there yet. They were all saying the same thing. I'm not there yet.
We know that they edit the teasers to manipulate things and take it out of context. So I'm wondering if it's truly what they're showing us, because I can't imagine Devin having any doubts or issues with taking the next step. But it showed that all of them were having issues. Marcus, I understood. Even Jonathan, I was surprised.
Yeah.
So one thing that I was surprised at, and we talked about this off camera, was it's going to be back to back Monday and Tuesday.
That
it's going
is
to be
correct.
fantasy suites and then Men Tell All. Men Tell All. I mean, that's always just like filler. I mean, what are we going to learn? We're not going to learn much.
We're not going to learn anything. We're going to learn that, the love version was a plant. I'll potentially look forward to seeing Colin Farrell again, but that's it. That's it.
All in all, there really hasn't been a whole lot.
It's been a slow year.
It's been a slow
year.
It's been a slow year. Well, that's all we got for you. Turn into Romance Recap next week when we talk about fantasy suites and Men Tell All. And remember, if it ain't ferocious, then it ain't true love.